Plato said that when you go to chemist school, you became more alert. You may wake up, your spirit wake up. And you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. We must know Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some Refuting too. We need to know Netcher.
Yes. Peace. ETM Hotep. Welcome to the Sesh channel. This is your brother Wujao Medew Maat, along with co-panelist Emiketaku Kenshai Akinyi. Know if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes. Too. Ren-E Imiket. Hotep Abed E, first and foremost. Ren-E Imiket. My name is Imiket, and yeah, let's keep going.
Okay. Yeah, so all right, this is one of those late night drive-bys again that we've been accustomed to doing lately. And it's late here on the East Coast and we do these late drive-bys, so that's why I say you definitely have to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And make sure you click on all notifications because we will pop up on you at any time, any day, any hour. All right. So today's topic title, video session title, live title is Wasteful Quarrels. Is it boredom? And so the story behind that should be very obvious because a lot of what we witness that goes on in the online social community is a lot of fussing, a lot of quarreling, and where does it go? Where does it take us? And so is it boredom is just a question of why does it happen so much? Why does it happen so often? Why are people pretending to be competent or proficient in a subject matter, go on social media on various different platform and mediums, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever the case is? Why do they just quarrel and argue back and forth? But not only that, though, but why is that attractive? Why is, because if nobody watched you do something, then you're not going to really do it for very long. That's where we get the saying monkey see, monkey do, or showing off. As children, you say, the only purpose of showing off is if there's somebody watching you, or there's an audience built up. So that's the question. Why is that so attractive? Why does that gain our attention so much when people fuss? And I call it wasteful quarrels because, it's different from arguments. And that's something we have to separate. A quarrel is different than an argument, especially in academia, in intellectual circles. An argument is a position, a well-structured, thought-out position that a person can take, and they advocate based on ... Whereas quarreling it's not that. It's more so just people arguing, no rhyme or reason, no structure to it, and no etiquette, structural etiquette to it. People cut each other off. People not paying attention when other person is talking. They only wait for the moment of silence just to get their point across, not even addressing what the person said because they weren't listening in the first place. And there's a lot of lack of comprehension and all of that good stuff. And then a lot of times it's emotional. It's rooted in an emotional response and things. So you get quarrels and fussing. And so that happens, and we know it. And I'm not the only one that see it, and I'm not the only one that say something about it. But I can say this for myself, is that I have unapologetically and consistently been against that type of behavior. Openly, live, non-live, openly, not openly, you name it. Anybody that knows me, been around me, knows that this is something that I am very consistent with. My issue against these, those type of things. And, I got a long history, track record, even on Facebook to show that. But, so my question though is, why is that so attractive? Because that kind of behavior draws a lot of attention. And, I just want to know, why is it attractive? And so I'm asking, is it boredom? Is it boredom? So I put the panel link in the chat early, and it's pinned to the top. So if you want to get on the panel and share your thoughts on that question, then by all means, go ahead. And as a matter of fact, let me just put the chat back up here so that I can see the chat. I can see the chat here. And, pay attention to the chat. So that's my question. I'm putting that on the floor. That's what this live is about. But at the same time, what I do also want to do is I want to share some of the memes that I've created over the years. And, what inspired me to want to share these memes is that, I just happen to look back through them, and I forget that I created them. I forgot that I created them and why. So when I see them, it's like, it sparks the memory or my thoughts, what I was thinking at the time. And so I created memes over the years. I've been on Facebook since 2010, maybe late 2009. And I've created memes that pass messages on and things, or address things in the form of a meme or what have you. And so I have a lot of them that I've created over that span of time from then till now, and so I was just looking through them today, and, I was like, wow, I forgot I did that. Oh, wow. But it puts me back into my mind state, frame of mind that I was in when I created them, so I just want to share a couple of those, but it's along the lines of the topic, the wasteful quarrel. Now it's wasteful because there's no structure. There's nothing gained out of it. Very little. I'm not going to say nothing, but it's little. And we could do a whole lot better. But we can only do better if more people want to do better. And so that's why I'm asking a question. Why does it get so much attention? Is it because of boredom? Is it boredom? Is it boredom? So, like I said, the panel link is posted in the chat. It's pinned to the top. So if you want to come on and share your thoughts on there at any point, by all means, go ahead. And so, I want to give a shout out. Appreciate anybody who's tuned in. We pop up on the scene late, and everything. But I want to give a shout out to those people who I can see. So peace to Brother Zane, Robert Rand, got Sean in the building, Any Haret Califani. Brother Sean said 4,000 images from Kemet. He doing some field work. All right, so that's all I see. Oh, Vyasa, peace to you, Vyasa. And who else? Salute Champ, peace. And who else? That's all I can see right now. So if you're in the chat, let yourself be known, so I can see that you are present and ready to go. All right, so I just wanna share. MC Kevin Chill heard. Boy, MC Chill, listen, y'all. If y'all haven't subscribed to MC Chill's podcast, his YouTube channel, friend him on Facebook and on Instagram, Kevin MC Chill heard, and I be saying his whole name, but MC Chill has a lot going on. If you don't know who he is connected, networked. He is the spider on the web that is networked to a lot of people and things, interesting people, not just people, but people that we know, and through interviews, I believe, host of interviews, talk show on radio, and I know he can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but check out what he has going on. Definitely, because so something always going on. I see it post up on Instagram. When I do check Instagram, it comes through my timeline. I see it and everything. So different topics, from music. A lot of people that in music, MC Chill has definitely rubbed elbows with and everything. You'd be surprised. All right, you definitely be surprised. You'd be like, MC Chill, what? Like, what is a person like that, dealing with Medew Netcher, Sesh Medew Netcher, and all this other kind of stuff? You'd be surprised. All right. So listen, the panel link is there. I haven't seen anybody jump on yet. I'm stalling. I'm stalling to see if anybody want to pop on here. But anyway, all right. So let me share some of these. I'm gonna share some slides here. Not slides, excuse me. Some memes. But mind you, the topic. He said, "Chill, don't check Messenger." Yep. Oh, and it's speaking of giving shout outs and everything. Also, if y'all don't already know, the brother Sean, who was in here as Any Haret Calfani. Now, sometimes Sean pop up as Sean P and Any Haret. You never know what hat he's wearing. So, Sean, I don't know what his troublemaking handle is, but I think that's Sean P. Sean P is like the troublemaker, but then Any Haret is probably the troublemaker. Sean P is the kind of laid back, nerdy, sciencey guy. So you got Science with Sean. So definitely check out Science with Sean. He's been keeping everybody up to speed and up to date on the pandemic, the vaccines, the virus, and he's not alone. You have the brother Chavis. Also, Chavis definitely be dropping some, keeping up with latest articles and things. I see him post things on Facebook all the time. But anyway, check everybody out. All right. Check everybody out. Yeah, Sean got a split personality right there. Oh, we got Mika in the house. All right. So, yeah, because when Sean take his glasses off, that's Any Haret. You know what I'm saying? He about to start some trouble. But when he put them glasses on and everything like that, and he talk like T.I. from Atlanta, that's when, that's the laid back nerdy Sean. All right, so No, I'm just playing around. All right, so let me just share these memes and tell me what y'all think about the memes. All right, because listen, this is over years now, mind you. Like I said, I've been on Facebook. I need to find out because I keep saying 2009, 2010, but I think 2009, late 2009 until now, and I've been creating memes ever since. So I have a lot of them, and I'm gonna share a few. But just going down memory lane. But you may have seen them, you may have not. But I want to know your thoughts on some of these. All right, so let me get my share up. Let's see how I can do this. All right, so let me make this big so y'all can see it. Yes. All right, there we go. All right, so this is the first one. This is not the first one. Okay, so let me give you all disclaimer or context. This is not in any order. I just pulled them up as fast as I could to be able to share a couple of them with y'all right now. So they're not in any order or anything like that. So don't ask me when. I don't know when I made this, but we could find out. They're posted on Facebook. But anyway, so I'm just gonna read and share a couple of these. Let me get where is it at? Okay, here we go. All right, so this first one, see, researcher says, make sure you research and investigate the information you see before making a claim. But a pseudo person, that's what a pseudo person does. All right, and y'all, I know y'all have witnessed this before. That's what pseudo folks do. They don't see anything. They just out there. Another one. So I make this one bigger. I don't know if y'all remember that the meme, the Batman Robin meme. This meme was going around it was real popular at a certain point where you fill in the thought clouds or whatever. And so this one says, so Robin's like, Kemet means black people, and then he gets slapped in the middle saying people, and Batman saying, shut the F up. Kemet is atop of them. And so when I made this one, this was during the time where people kept incorrectly saying that Kemet means black people. It's referring to black people, the land of black people. And, we went through that whole argument some time ago. This was like a couple of years ago now. We could actually say a couple of years ago, 3 years ago now, I think. So anyway, so that was that. And, this was aimed at people that keep saying it. And people still say it to this day. So the work we've done and showed and explained, it's not, it hasn't changed the bigger picture, but people have learned from it and have moved away from it. And that's what matters. And so this kind of speaks to the topic. See, the kind of structured, educational, informative, knowledge expanding work doesn't get the limelight as does arguing, fussing, fighting, cutting people off, cursing, quarreling, and all that other shenanigans and stuff. Like that gets more attention. And so, that's the question that I have in the title. Is it boredom? Is it because people are bored? Like, what is it? Like, I mean, are we, is that the game now? So I'm gonna keep on going. And I don't know if these are coming out of view or not. Oh, y'all can see this. Yeah. When someone asks me about something about Kim, I say, have a seat. Now, that was funny to me. I mean, I made this, I made the top part, have a seat. But this was a famous meme that was going around too. I mean, the picture itself. But this is real for me because when someone speaks about Kemet, the have a seat part is to be anti-microwave. Because when people talk about ancient Egypt or Kemet, you can't microwave it. So you gotta tell them, hey, make yourself comfortable, have a seat. Yeah, we're gonna talk about this thing, So that's the story behind that, because you cannot talk about ancient Egypt, Kemet, in a microwave fashion. You can't talk about a lot of things that you hear people talk about in a microwave way. Here's another one. Protection against pseudoism. Condoms. This is mental condoms. All right, protection against pseudoism. That speaks for itself. I'm not sure if y'all could see all of this one. Pharmacy medicine, keep out of reach of children, for external use only. Mental Visine, the original mind drops. I think, you know what? I think this was my first meme. I actually think, this is not my first one, but this is an older one. I made this a long time ago. I mean, and matter of fact, I think Chavis will appreciate this because I made this like a long time ago. Definitely 10 years ago. Matter of fact, I'm gonna look it up. But anyway, but notice it says original mind drops, mental visine, original mind drops for ignorant, narrow-minded Negro mentality. Tep Hesabide, 99.9%. Now we should know by now what Tep Hesab means. It means correct method, and so that's the active ingredient in this mental visine is Tep Hesabide. And so I just played on the word Tep Hesab, which is the ancient Egyptian word for correct method. All right, so, and I say Chavis would appreciate that because he has his screen name is Chavis Tep Hesab, something. So, and I know you all can relate to this. This is exactly what people do. How pseudos create their own facts. They just manufacture stuff. You got a sheet of paper and a calculator on there to say 45. My man is lying to himself. He don't weigh no 45 pounds. His feet alone probably weigh 45 pounds. So anyway, let me keep going. And I want to say this. Listen, the link is in the chat. It's pinned to the top. So you want to come on and share your thoughts on any of this stuff, anything I'm saying on any of these memes, by all means, go ahead. So I'm just going to keep sharing a few of them. Because y'all might not have seen them. Because they're old, So I'm just sharing them. Going through this. Yeah, what if I told you fools can write books too? This is kind of old too. Because now what inspired me to do this is because people started to cite books for the sake of citing them and not knowing the accuracy of the information in the book. So I did this to show that just because something is in a book doesn't mean that it's accurate or correct. And so I went to the extreme and just say, well, anybody can write books. Fools can write books. So don't quote me books just for the sake of doing that. That's borderline appealing to authority as well. That's the logical fallacy, appealing to authority. Just because instead of a specific authority, it's a book. So just because it's in a book, it must be right. Yeah, right. That's not logical. That doesn't stand up. So that's that one. And I think everybody can relate to this. Robin saying, I'm an Aboriginal Native American. Pap, shut the F up. Your DNA test says West African. All right, this is for all African Americans. I did this, on a DNA conversation, obviously. But, African Americans claiming to be Aboriginal. So you got these abos out there that are denying African heritage, recent African ancestry, and they're rolling and rocking with being Aboriginal, Native American, and this, that, and the third, and they were never part of a slave trade and stuff like that. But you tell them to take a DNA ancestry test and post it or whatever, it says West African all day, every day. So I know y'all can relate to that. That's that. This one should be obvious. I did this one because people try to grab your attention and kick and scream and try to get attention. And so, I just did this to say, sorry, the attention you ordered is currently out of stock. Because you ain't got to address everything. People try to push buttons that don't exist because they're used to that, foolishness, the circus. This one's kind of self-explanatory. I don't know if y'all can see it. It's probably too big. Let me see if it pops up on the screen. Yeah, these are too big. So let me shrink this down. Yeah. So you're a cheerleader when you have to yell, kick, and scream to get what you want. Now the story behind this one is that there were people begging for a debate, begging me to debate, and they kept begging to debate on things that they don't study, and they want to debate. And so I kept telling them, listen, bring your teacher. I don't, you're not even qualified to debate. But they kept begging, every chance they got. So I did this one, telling them to stop being a cheerleader, in the sense you got to kick, yell, and scream to get what you want. You like, crying all the time too. So we have that going on. This one, what if I told you no one is really black or white? That's just the bottom line to kill the colorism argument that people are having, still having right now to this very day. That's just never ending. Nobody's really black or white. And I also did this to give people a chance to think about it, is because of the fact that no one is literally black, no one is literally white. People that we call white people and people that we call black people, they're not the actual color black or the color white. So that being a fact, then hopefully it'll cause your mind to think like, okay, well, why do we say it? How can you look in the mirror and say you're black when you're actually not the color black? So you identifying with the color black is not for the sake of the color, but it's for the sake of a category. And that sparks a conversation, so people can understand the class system that we have, called the social construct of race, the modern social construct of race. So anyway, that's to kind of spark that off. And then we got good old Yoda. Let me see how big to make these things. We got good old Yoda. And you know how Yoda talk. Pseudo you are. No scholarship you have. Pseudo you are. No scholarship you have. Pseudoism is strong with this one, Padawan. That's your boy Yoda chiming in on the pseudoism. Boy. And y'all know y'all need this. Hey, for real, if you want any of these memes, just hit me up and I have no problem sharing them with you. Make them go viral. You can make them go viral. All right, so I'm gonna share a couple more. We got Brother Sean on the panel, but I'm gonna keep sharing a few more. I got a lot, but I'm gonna share a few and then I'll stop and see what y'all are talking about. All right, so let's keep going. Wait a minute, I done lost my spot. All right, here we go. Here's a good one. Everybody can relate to this one. Everybody can relate to this one, right? Evidence. MFA, do you have it? You could picture Samuel Jackson saying it. Now that's self-explanatory. People talking all that talk. You just asked them, evidence, do you have it? Demonstration beats conversation, period. This is Samuel Jackson's way of saying demonstration beats conversation. This is exactly how he would say it in Pulp Fiction. All right, that's that one. Okay, here's an interesting one. Now this one went over people's heads. This is old, but this went over people's heads. Now, it says by water or suffocation. What this means is, in order to put out a fire, you can put it out with water or you can suffocate it. Meaning you can pile on water to a fire and it will go out, or you could remove the oxygen and the fire will go out. And so we have two choices to put out a fire. And so the fire is figurative for the arguments, the disagreements. So are you going to put it out with water and make a mess, or are you just going to subtract the oxygen out the room and put it out? And so me, if y'all have been around me long enough, you know I choose to remove the oxygen out the room. I will take a person's oxygen to put out the nonsense that they're talking about. Period. All right, so that's that one. Here's another one. Me trying to find. Now this is old. Now this is dated, obviously, because of what it says. Y'all know that young Pharaoh and Seti was trying to argue that the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic writing system had never been deciphered. And so I created this one back then. And I said, me trying to find scholarship in Seti and young Pharaoh's presentation. This is when they did that bedroom, that hotel room presentation, or somebody's bedroom or whatever, living room presentation. And yeah, so I created this one because, man, that whole presentation, there was no scholarship in their presentation.
It was the basement of his mother's house.
Oh yeah, there you go. The basement of his mother's house. Yeah. So yeah, I did this one for that. All right. Next one. Self-explanatory. Truth and accuracy open only from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, but pseudoism is open 24/7 and holidays, boy. You can always count on pseudoism to be available, ready and rolling. You know what I'm saying? They got stock for days. They got the shelves are loaded. Pseudoism. You walk into a pseudoism store, they have everything you need. They're never out of stock. They don't have to look up. They don't have to go to the back for anything. They got everything on the shelf. Up high, down low, behind the counter. You know? That's a pseudoism. But truth and accuracy, it is only from 12 to 3, Monday through Friday. And they be out of stock all the time. So that's that one. What else? All right, here's one about the language. Afroasiatic. This is, we've been saying this for a long time about the Afroasiatic language family, or phylum, I should say. It's not a family. And there is a difference in linguistic, historical comparative linguistics between a phylum and a language family. But people were, at this time, they were always talking about Afroasiatic language family. And you hear people even say it today. They'll talk about Afroasiatic speakers and then mix DNA with Afroasiatic and stuff like that. But this was just to set the record straight that Afroasiatic language phylum is pseudoscience. It's not a legitimate genetic language family. It's not. It never was. And linguists acknowledge this, but the slow folks, the short bus folks in the circus community don't know that. And so they still use it and even try to argue while using it. All right. So this meme speaks to that. This one, self-explanatory. Say white man signs one more again. I dare you. So that's like, Samuel Jackson's voice. And we all know what this is. People, when you present scientific information, people say, oh, nah, that's the white man's science. That's the white man's science, as if putting a color or a phrase, white man or black man or purple man, in front of science is going to change the science, change the information. So that's crazy. But people do it. And I know y'all heard people do it. People do it. Here's another Samuel Jackson. Say evolution teaches we come from monkeys one more again. I dare you. Now everybody knows that people go around saying that, even to this very day. People say, I ain't from no monkey. I don't believe in evolution. I ain't from no monkey. And so the point here is that that's not what evolution tells us. Evolution does not tell us that we come from monkeys. We are classified as great ape. That's our classification. Hominidae. All right. Let's keep going. This one, self-explanatory. What if I told you etymology, definition, and meaning are different things? Because I did this one because people mix up etymology, definitions, and meanings. They think they're the same. And some of y'all listening probably think it's the same right now. But it's not. So I'm not going to explain it, but just check into it. You'll see they're different. They have different. There's different tools. They're different. They're used for different things. Let's see what else. I'm gonna skip some. Let's see. Oh, this is self-explanatory, but I know y'all can appreciate this. Quality and quantity, but the meme is saying quality over quantity, and that speaks to this topic, the title topic of this video. Do you want quantity? Do you want 100,000 followers? Do you want 1,500 viewers? Do you want 2,000 likes? Or are you focused on quality? Does quantity float your boat, or does the quality of something float your boat? Think about it. Think about your health. Do you want quality food, or do you just want a lot of junk? Are you focused on the quality of your food or the quantity of your food? And that's for physical health. So think about your mental health. Are you going for junk food mentally, or you want quality mental food? And so that's something to think about. Here's another Yoda one. The Crayon Color Wars begun. They have that's him saying his voice. Begun again. They have. And that's the whole race colorism thing. All right, people arguing black, white, and all this other kind of stuff. Okay, so this one is dated and directed directly. So what if I told you Asar, Wujao, Sanjeti, and Mboli already agree? You're not saying anything new, and the G43 Quail chick does correspond to W in related African languages. This was directed to someone that kept on arguing, trying to create an argument about something that we already have said and been saying for years. And the brother kept arguing as if we've never said it, number one, and then as if we said something different. And I know y'all know somebody like that. Maybe not even the same brother we were talking about or I was talking about in this meme, but you know somebody who does stuff like that. They'll argue with you about something that you already agree. You're not even opposed to. And they'll argue as if they invented it or they came up with it. I'm like, why do people do that? All right, here's a good one. What if I told you there was never a first human? See, these some of these are conversation starters, by the way. So there was never a first human. That's a fact. And if you don't know that right now, then hey, bring it up again. We'll have a conversation about it. We'll do a show on it. There never was a first human being. All right. I know you're thinking like, man, Wujao is definitely out to lunch on that one, but I'm not. I promise you, I'm not. I think everybody could use this or would like to use this. What if I told you about to get this work? Oh man, I forgot when I did it, but I know that I did it when it came to Seti and Young Pharaoh. They were definitely about to get that work, boy. They backed out of the it wasn't even a debate. It wouldn't have been a debate. They backed out of being a what do you call it? An exhibit. You know how you say Exhibit A, Exhibit B? That's what they would have been. They just been tools for the presentation. The pseudo wars begun. They have the pseudo wars are still going on. And I ain't gonna share. I'll share this one. This is my last one I want to share for right now. This is plain and simple. Do not microwave Kemet. The same way that you don't put metal objects in your microwave. Do not put Kemet in a microwave. All right, do me that favor. You cannot microwave Kemet. Don't put Kemet in your microwave. You're gonna blow it up. Okay, you're gonna blow it up. You're gonna blow up your microwave. Don't do it. But people try to do it. People talk about ancient Egypt. Don't even study ancient Egypt. I swear, if you line up everybody to talk about Egypt, line them up, and then let me ask them one question each, and it will show that they don't study it. And there's nothing wrong with that by itself, because I don't expect everybody to study Egypt or ancient Egypt. Kemet, I don't expect everybody to study. I don't expect everybody to be interested in it. But what's crazy is the people that talk about it and argue about it. They're the ones that don't study it. And it's amazing how much ancient Egypt come out their mouth, but they don't study it. I'm like, man, that's where it's a problem. All right. And that's it. All right. So I'm gonna pause right here because I'm just sharing, and I don't want to bore y'all with my memes. So let me take this off the screen and come on.
Yes, I'll probably go. I think Sean is still doing the field work. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot to say because it's interesting that.
Yeah, Sean, you doing your field work. You got 4,000
I want to show y'all
pictures.
something too, though. Well, go ahead, MK.
Yeah, I was gonna say that that is if it is like everything that the memes that you've shown, and I remember most of them, especially work conversations, sparked those some of those memes. It's funny because a lot of that still goes on. But it was recently when I was reading an article, and he was talking about how there's less and less young people using Facebook, coming out of Facebook through the last few years, probably going to TikTok, which is for more creativity and things of that nature. And then you got more older folks, jumping into Facebook and things of that nature. And I realized that a lot of the things that I see on Facebook, especially with these arguments, because I was always wondering, like, is a lot of elderly people that actually engage in this kind of arguments and back and forth on this social media platform. And then obviously now it's moved over to YouTube as well. But it's older folks. And when you think about it, like these are not people that, most of them are not just parents. Some of them are actually grandparents in that nature. So these people are not really rescuable at this point, because even if these people were to be fed the right information and things of that nature, they don't have much time to do anything of value with it. So it's almost like very useless. But it's weird that you find that it's older people actually engaging in this kind of back and forth and arguing and not wanting to study. And it's a shame because these are people who probably have to teach their children or their grandchildren sometimes at home, which is detrimental to the coming generations as well, because there's there's nothing really good to look up to. But I'm just saying that in the sense that I just kind of in the beginning I was very frustrated with this, but then I realized that because you see people who are actually older than myself, and then but then at the end I'm like, they're too old if I was to engage with this kind of people, what are the benefits? What would they give back to the society and things of that nature? And you find that there's really not much. So it kind of let it go. But I just wanted to point out that it's a lot of older people that just jumped into social media and don't know what to do with social media, because probably in school they had a lot of wasted time in school, and now this is like they're living their second life on social media. And then you see a lot of a lot of that wastage going on, and then and using that in the name of scholarship as well to kind of like find something. But yeah, it's a waste of time.
Yep, I agree. I agree. And I also agree earlier with the point Jarwood made about the noise. Just people studying in general don't know what they're talking about. Like you can't really have an honest conversation about a topic because you're trying to learn on the fly, and then other people seem arrogant because they've been studying it 5 or 10 years or so, and they're trying to help you get to a point of where you're trying to get to, but you're rejecting it because you rather deal with what people are saying that's against the case. What I got on my screen though are some of the images. I got them all. I got more, but they're on a video. They're like video footage, so I can't really rip them. So I got to figure out a way to actually do that on my other laptop. But some of these we're going to I'm gonna show tomorrow as well. I think uh, I think I'm gonna get into some of these tomorrow. But I've been having these for like 3 years. They're directly from out of the well. There's a little package that I actually had gotten that allowed me to get them directly from Cairo. Um, these particular images, and so they send me like 3,000 actual
Wait,
photos.
go back. Just
On my
some,
bad.
cause you flipping through them. Quick, can you blow that one up?
Yes, sir.
See, that's proof that the Egyptians were black. Nah, but no. But blow. Can you zoom in some more?
I think I might. Yeah.
Okay, can you get the top? I'm trying to see the name. So, like those pictures are really good practice pictures too for people to try to name the deity. Like, so if you had a string of those pictures like that, you could actually have a not a contest, but a quiz with
Hmm.
everybody to name the deity, because the names are written in front of them in the columns and stuff. So that would be interesting, because without knowing the glyphs, people are gonna guess based on the headdress or what have you, and then people be guessing at who they are and everything. Like people won't even know that one on the right is. Well, let me keep stay right there. So anybody in the chat watching right now, name the female figure on the right hand side. So I know it's a delay, but I'm gonna give people a chance in the chat. Name the female figure on the right hand side. I want people to try it out. Name the female figure on the right hand side. Yep.
They should be able to name her. Oh, it looks
Well,
easier on the YouTube world than it do on my screen.
you said what now?
It looks clearer on the YouTube world than it does on my
Oh,
screen.
yeah. But see, no, it's kind of tricky because people are gonna judge by the headdress.
Address. Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I don't see anybody trying. Man, I don't know if it's that much of a
Instead of
delay.
looking directly at her name, and it's right there too.
Well, name both figures. Name both figures. I want somebody in the chat to name both figures. There. Name both figures. Name both figures. Let's see. Let's see who can do it. Who can do it? Who can do it? As a matter of fact, the person that can name both figures is going to get a free signed copy of Sean's. Nah, let me stop. I'm just volunteering books and whatnot. Nah, nobody's answering.
Zane said it's hard. Hold up, Zane. Let me try to zoom again.
He said it's hard to see.
What? The headdress is huge.
Yeah, yeah. You said from the headdress.
No, I'm saying from anything. I just want somebody to name the two. Name the two figures there. Name them. Name them. Name them. Name them.
You might have to change your quality on your phone if you're on your phone
Yeah,
to
if you're on this phone,
720.
it's gonna be hard to see it. But I don't see anybody else. We got people watching, and I don't see anybody. So we might as well just go ahead and say it. Say who it is. So he said, "Oh, I was trying to read the glyphs." That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, use anything you can on the screen to get to it.
Holly says a SAR and a set.
Oh, he said a SAR and a set.
I
Okay.
don't know how he got that, but yeah, that's what he said.
Kali Hercules. I'm about to say Hercules. Yeah, Hercules.
Jay
Oh,
Carter
Jay
says
Carter says a SAR a set. Man, boy. Hold up, one more. All right, we're gonna allow 3 people. That's two. That's
right.
2 attempts. One more person. One more person. One more person. Come on, somebody bring it home. Somebody bring it home. I got faith. I got faith. I got the faith of a mustard seed.
At least get
Somebody.
one of them. He says I'm a net.
All right, Zane says I'm in that boy,
Mm,
man.
mm.
And Fitz Shaggy Peace says I'm a and peace to Lamar Hope. All right, so MEK, you do the figure on the left, and Sean, I know you can do the figure on the right.
Okay, so on the left you have Amun Ra.
All right, great,
So
easy enough.
yeah,
On
and
the
then you got my
Yep. So there you go. So it's Amun Ra, and you have Ma'at. Now that's why I wanted you to go back to this picture, because when you were flipping through it, I saw her name, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not a typical Ma'at looking figure though.
mm-hmm.
Because the headdress, she's usually not seen wearing that headdress, and so I know it's gonna throw people off. But that is Amun Ra and Ma'at there.
Mika is like, I knew it was bad.
Yeah. So the case in point is that
Make it
when you
all
see
after the
that,
fact.
yeah, when you start seeing this sign and this sign, right? It's ma, and then you got the hand right after that. It's there, and then the bread loaf that gives it away. Those are telltale signs that uh this is her speaking. And the same with Amun Ra. You got the bread loaf. You got the relief, the game board, the water ripple, sun, and then you got the single stroke.
Yep.
Yes, and you say something crucial there is, especially when you have these figures, is sometimes you might see different names on the glyphs, but when you have the figures that accompany those glyphs, and when they're pointing the same directions as the glyph, usually the other giveaway is the Jed Medu N, the
Mm-hmm.
word spoken
Yeah.
by. So the person who
Ah,
speaks, usually you will see, yeah, you will see them as the figures, as the bigger figures.
and I think most people, when they're looking at that, they don't think that it's still saying words spoken by because they see the crown. I
Yeah,
think that.
true that. But I want to say something to Mika's comment. This is something that we gotta change too. Is it's okay to be wrong? You know what I'm saying? So I know she said that she didn't say anything because she wasn't confident enough. But now you can't be wrong in the circus environment, because you'll get preyed upon. You'll become a prey and whatnot. But in a proper environment where we're all learning and stuff like that, it's okay to be wrong, because we're gonna have each other's back and correct.
Mm-hmm.
As long as people got tough enough skin to be corrected, then yeah, it's alright to be wrong. I'd rather for somebody to be confident and wrong than to be all scary and timid and never say anything. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure that was clear. Yep, you got some more. What was that? Well, go
Oh
back.
Lord, yeah.
Oh yeah, and quickly to what Mika said, I think for us on the session, if you actually go back on the archives, especially all actually we do that on the freestyle
Oh,
Fridays, where we are always like we just put something and then we try out, and we know we might be wrong. So you will see like we are confidently wrong on our freestyle Fridays, because you have to let yourself be wrong. So we don't mind being wrong, as long as we can get to the right position and correct ourselves. But being wrong, don't worry that you're on AI and you're wrong and all that. We do it all the time on our freestyles, and that's actually what we were put it actually there for.
That's how you learn. So you make the mistakes and then you go back. Because I'm telling you right now, with the twisted flax, there was eternity. I would always mess up eternity. And when I see it, I was like, man, I know this word, but it would escape me when I see it, because you have two twisted flags, and then you got the little what is the sun disk with the dot in the middle. And when I saw that, when I would be reading something, it would escape me every time mentally. It would just, I couldn't figure it out. But just through practice, it just starts sticking.
I didn't realize you had the names written above it. Were the names weren't above the other one, was it?
No, it wasn't above
Oh,
the.
okay, yeah,
Yeah,
that one gave it away. I was gonna ask people to identify that one,
yeah, it did.
but yeah, all set. But put your cursor where the name is, just so people can
Oh,
see
my
it,
bad.
so people can see the name all set.
Yeah, they would have got. Well, if it wasn't right there, they would have got. Could have. I had trust in people to get it right, but her name is right here,
Yep. All right.
and of course, you know what my aunt's name is right here. But
Yep.
anytime you
Okay.
see that little egg-looking thing right there, and that bread loaf, and then that shoot, what the heck we call it, throne?
Yeah,
Seat.
See,
the
yeah,
high seated throne.
there you go. You gonna
Yep.
have her with Seer.
Yep. So that's all set. So when people are saying Osara all set, that's all set right there. That one. But yeah, you got some good
I
pictures
got
there.
4,000 of these loaded.
Okay, that's some interesting ones.
But
You know what
what I
you should
wanted
do
to
with
show
them?
y'all, I wanted to show y'all this real quick. Let me scroll. I found this pretty interesting. They even got the birds.
Mretsuger.
hmm They got them all. So I wanted to show you this because of the recent conversation and some of the comments that was on the Happy Film cancellation thingy, and those Arabs down there going crazy. And it took everything in me not to say nothing, but I overcame it. I ain't say nothing.
Oh wait, scroll up.
Okay,
Something just caught my eye. Go back up some more. Oh, back up, 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 up. Wait. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right there. Let's see. On the bottom row, the second. Yeah, right there. Click that.
right here.
Yeah. I'm just curious. Yeah. Oh, okay. See, I like those real vivid
hmm
colors. Where is that from? What tomb, or where is that from? Do you know?
I have to come out of it for it to give me the exact location,
Okay, well
because
that's all
it's
right.
it's
That's all right.
all in a folder. They're in separate folders.
Okay, that's all right. Don't do it yet. But I think I know where it is just by the pictures around it.
Yeah, they're all related to whatever that is.
Yeah, that's a very vivid, vibrant tomb.
All right, but
Um,
like you start seeing
mhm,
these faces, it's like, man, this dude came late.
yeah, yep,
And then you start seeing faces like this and this and this. And I'm like, I don't think that the people that's arguing against the happy film and what they're actually trying to do is is making substantial arguments. They keep saying that they're the Egyptians, but then, okay, well, what about these people whose faces are actually in museums during times where they were there? And y'all
Wait,
wasn't.
are people arguing against the Happy film or arguing? See,
Not
I
against the
do,
film. Again, they're saying they're impersonating the Egyptians or whatever. There was some bold comments that was on that thing where the Arabs, they were like going in, and I'm like, they were claiming the identity of the Remech, like being the ancient ones. Like all of that
see.
history belongs to them.
Yeah, and see, for a long time we've been warning people not to give in to that stuff on either side. See, I see fault on both sides of the argument. I do see the blackologists trying to blackety black everything, and then I see on the other end the deniers and on the other side culture vultures and whatnot, because people don't understand what identity is. And I'm hearing people, even tonight, even today, before I went live, as I pull up YouTube, I can see other channels that are live. I click on them and stuff like that. And I'm hearing people having arguments about genetic populations, not knowing how to use genetic population data as a tool to assist in answering certain questions. They're talking about the wrong thing, or they're using the wrong tool to talk about the wrong thing. And 10,000 BCE, what the North Africa gene pool was like versus sub-Saharan gene pool and this and that. But yet they throw in Egypt and stuff in the conversation. You can't do that. You cannot do that, and that's just the sad part. The scholars don't do that. They just don't do it. A scholar knows what tool to pull out of tool chest to work with whatever issue they got. If they need a flathead screwdriver, they're gonna pull it out. They're not gonna pull out a hammer to screw in a flathead screw. Use a hammer for a nail, not a screw, and so on and so forth. And that's what people are doing. And so it's just a mess on both sides when even people are claiming Egyptian heritage, because here's the thing: Egypt is not a gene.
Right.
It's not a gene. So Egypt, everything that we know and love about Egypt is coming from the cultural umbrella. And people that live in Egypt, the Arab Republic of Egypt right now today, they do not practice or live the ancient Egyptian culture. They don't. So they're not ancient Egyptians. They're modern day Egyptians for the sake of the country and nationality. They're national citizens and members of the nation of the Arab Republic of Egypt. Yes, so they're Egyptians. Yes, full stop. You can't argue against that. But they're not participant and live the ancient Egyptian culture. The culture is gone. And that's just the bottom line. It's gone. It's not practiced there. It's just not. The language is not spoken. You have Copts that will speak Coptic there, and that's, as scholars label the stage of the language in the 5 stages. That's the 5th stage, Coptic being the last. And so you got people speaking Coptic, but outside of the tour guides or the Egyptologists or the people who are under the wings of those folks, they don't go around there reading the glyphs and stuff like that and doing the rituals and doing this and that, living that life and everything, even living on the Nile. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, it's just different conversations are going on. People are expecting, okay, the ancient Egyptians, where did they go? As if the ancient Egyptians had a mass exodus. People are reading the Bible too much. As if everybody in Egypt packed their bags and just rolled out for whatever the reason is, whether they got forced out or left on their own. People actually envision that the whole country packed a bag and then just walked out, and some other people filled it in. Don't work like that.
The interesting part is, I always wonder two things actually. The first thing is that, and this is actually to the people who are always arguing on it. Obviously, there's two sides of the extremes, like you say. There's the people who actually say this is us, and obviously that is not. Those people are those people. Africa is very diverse, so if just the same way you can't, I cannot say I'm Nigerian. I'm not, but we can actually, be under one term of being African. But in a sense, you always wonder, is like, why those people always ignore. One thing that people tend to ignore is that the only people that we know of that actually saw the ancient Egyptians or the Remet and documented it is the Greeks. And what they say, everybody's mom or not. And some people could actually argue that that's one part where the Greek were wrong, and then the Greek were also right in everything else, except that part. Then the second part is that why what people don't those kind of people don't ask themselves or want to answer is why there would be such a distinct culture, the language and everything like we see in with ancient Egypt, and then all of a sudden all that was still in Egypt with people still in Egypt today, but all that was lost to them. People are living there with the pyramids and not knowing what it is if there was no continuity. That how people would argue these are descendants of the ancient Egyptians who live in Egypt. So what happened? Did they just like you said, the ancient Egyptians, did they just disappear, left their children there, and then the children had no knowledge of the language and no knowledge of what they see around them? If there wasn't something to do with two sets of or groups, or the continuity being moved somewhere, being having less to do with the majority of people that we see there now, who obviously practice different cultures. Most people, like somebody I saw saying, a lot of people in Egypt today are actually even trying to learn how to read, what they see on the walls, and understand what those ancient Egyptians were. So why would that happen if there wasn't a case of a disconnection that happened somewhere and not a continuity, that you can argue that these were actually descendants of the ancient Egyptians?
Yeah, the right questions are not being asked, and it's just, that's what I say. It's quarrels. It's people just fussing. It's just people just fussing. And so I got this comment up. Aaron says Chief X was cheerleading for the Arabs. Of course, Chief X is going to do that because Chief X MO is to be messy. By his own admission, he said so in his videos that he does videos, or he did certain videos just to be messy, and I have no respect for that. So Chief X lost my respect, period. You know what I'm saying? So Chief X is funny, but I don't tolerate stuff like that because it's at the expense of people actually learning and expanding the knowledge. And when people are not interested and they want to sabotage that process, I don't have nothing for them. So I lost respect for Chief X on that. He could keep his God best and all that kind of stuff and keep that stuff over there. He could join the circus. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and become an act in the circus. That's stay keep doing that. More power to him on that. But to what you were saying, Emicat, the point, the good point that you raised is culturally, anybody who actually studies the ancient Egyptian culture will see at a certain point the culture dies. And if you're talking about Egypt as in a genetic conversation, because a lot of people try to do that, and you only can do that after 2003 when the human genome was mapped. Prior to that, nobody was having genetic conversations about anything and anybody and stuff like that. But they bring it up because everybody's like a new kid on the block when it comes to that, and so everybody want to just sound heavy, but not know. It's like just because you see a screw gun in the toolbox, don't mean you got to pick it up for everything. A screw gun is not going to saw the 2x4 in half. It's not going to do it. But you got people who will reach for the screw gun to hang drywall. You do need a screw gun, but to cut 2x4s, to to lay down a marble tile. They want a screw gun for everything. To put together pipes, plumbing. A screw gun is not made to handle everything. So the genetic conversation, to bring up DNA and genetics and stuff, does not apply to everything. And so here's how you know. Ancient Egypt was never a genetic homogeneous population. It never was. And so that kills the argument, because it creates a big problem for that. So when we say ancient Egypt, we're not talking about a gene pool of people. We're talking about a culture that is lived. And that culture was lived within a certain geographical territory that we know still to this day as Egypt. Northern Sudan, and from Northern Sudan all the way up to the Mediterranean. There was a culture that was practiced in that location. That culture produced all the things that we come to know and love about Egypt to this very day. The pyramids, the Sphinx, the temples, the writing, the papyri, its contents, the architecture, the pottery, the symbolisms, the everything we know and love about Egypt was practiced in that area by not a homogeneous gene pool of people. So if we understand how cultures come and go, or ebb and flow, we'll know that even the people living there to this day, remember, the Sesh Netcher, or the hieroglyphic writing system, wasn't deciphered until the early 1800s. They give credit to Champollion. Now think about this. If there was a continuum of culture, there would be no need to decipher anything. You don't walk up to name a group of people. You don't walk up to some Native Americans trying to decipher their language when they're still speaking it. They still know it. So there wouldn't be a time where I would walk into Egypt and have to decipher a writing system that's right there with some people standing there too, if they were part and parcel of the creation of that and the usage of that. If the people living there now are responsible for creating that language and the writing system and using it, I would not be able to walk up to them or walk up in the country in the need of deciphering it. Just that alone, that simple fact alone right there tells you that the people there now, regardless of their genetic makeup, they don't practice the ancient Egyptian culture. And that's king. That's king. Because think about it. Okay, let's use us as an example. When I say us, I mean African Americans. We're here in the United States of America as African Americans. When any one of us do our genetic ancestry test and we get the results back, it will show that we share a lot of DNA with people in West and Central Africa. West and Central Africa. The West Coast, but they call that, even that lower part, Central Africa for whatever reason. But West and Central Africa, our DNA, in a DNA conversation, we cluster with that. We share a good percentage with people in West Africa and Central Africa. But yet, we do not practice those cultures here in America until maybe when we become adults. We want to do a Sankofa thing, and then we'll try to convert into a West African or Central African culture, but we're converting to it. There's a breakage there, and we have to, convert to it. And even converting to it, we're not living it to its fullest because the culture was not created for the conditions over here in the United States, the circumstances and conditions. Like a lot of people, I know a lot of people, like the dominant conversion to an African spiritual system or religion or culture is Yoruba. That's the dominant one out of African Americans. If African Americans are going to to take up a an African traditional culture, the highest one on the list is Yoruba, Nigeria and Yoruba, or Isheshe or Ifa. But that practice and those traditions and that culture was not made in America, for the environment, or the circumstances. It was not lived for that. It was not created as a result of those circumstances. So we are converting to something that is not made or conducive for us here when people do that. But my point though is that we have to do it because there's a disconnect. So the same way with people, so no matter where you are, so the people in the country of Egypt today, they don't practice ancient Egyptian culture. They don't speak the language, and they don't practice the culture. Language is a big part of culture. They don't speak the language. They walk past, if they're allowed, or whatever, the writing, the hieroglyphs on the walls and things like that. They live in that area because, I'm from, and I know how it is because I was born and raised in Washington, D.C., and this is just the way it is. I know it's the way it is for me and a lot of people. When you live somewhere, you take things for granted because you're born and raised there. So it's no big deal. So I see people come into Washington, D.C., they break their neck to go to the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Memorial, the Lincoln Memorial, the Capitol Building, the Air and Space Museum and stuff. And I'm like, man, what's the big deal? But I mean, I understand that now, but I'm like, that's like right around the corner. That's like, I'm around it all the time, so it's no big deal. And you don't pay attention to those things. And you take it for granted until you get older or you need it. Then you're like, man, I need to go to the Library of Congress. I used to live right here and I didn't go to the Library of Congress, but now I need to go. Air and Space Museum. Man, I should have went when I lived, growing up right there around the Smithsonian. All those things are right down there. And I used to be down there. But I'm saying, so people living there, the pyramids in their backyard, they see them all the time. They see the temples. They see the tourists come in. Their mind is elsewhere. I guarantee you go to Egypt when it comes time for that Salatul Fajr. I mean, not Salatul Fajr, but that dawn prayer, that early morning prayer. You're gonna hear that call of the Adhan. That's what you're gonna hear. Very loud. They're not singing Dua Ra, Dua Aten Usir, Hotep Di Nasud.
You got to roll the R.
But they not singing Hotep Di Nasud, Wasir Neb Jadu, Netcher Ah Neb Abju. They're not doing none of that. They're going Bismillah Rahman Rahim.
Yeah, basically the point is that the ancient Egyptian culture itself is just like for us, it's something that we can say, it's not us. As in the ancient Egyptians are gone, the culture died, with them, and and the language we call, like you said, it's a dead language. So just as it is a stranger to us at this point, it is a stranger actually to those people who actually live there, and that's why people actually studied. And the crazy part is that the people who actually made us aware of the stuff that we talk about when it comes to the language itself, decipherment and all that, is not the people in Egypt at this point. It's actually Europeans basically. So strange, outsiders had to come in to figure out what that culture is about. And the process we're still figuring out as more and more stuff come out. because obviously, excavations is not complete in that sense. So people just need to understand that point, that we can't say who at this point are the ancient Egyptians, or who are they. We know who that they're not there anymore.
Yeah, and that's just the point, but that's not fun. When you make that point, it kind of kills the drama that people are attracted to, because you can just look how the foreign ministry, look how the Ministry of Antiquities in Egypt, how they treat everything, how they do the excavations, how they give grant and permission for other institutions to come in and excavate and things, and how they're discovering things together. You don't do that to people who already been there and practice a continuum of the culture. They already know the stuff. They'll know, okay, the Valley of the Kings. They'll know exactly why the kings are buried in the Valley of the Kings on the west bank or the east bank of the Nile River. Why Abju is where Abju is, or Abydos is where it is. Why the temple is positioned this way. They'll know all that stuff already. But they find this stuff out in real time because that's not their culture. Even if the genetic population and the gradient of the gene movement of genes and the variation of these genes say otherwise, because genes do not tell you what language a person spoke or what culture a person practiced. And so every time I hear DNA being brought up in these conversations, you might as well just turn the channel. You're going to waste your time. What you're witnessing when people do that, you're literally, well, not literally, but you're figuratively watching somebody use a screw gun to lay down marble tile in the bathroom or ceramic tile in the bathroom. And if you saw that, you'd be like, are you crazy? What are you doing? And that's how you should feel when you hear these conversations. Why are you using genetics to talk about these ancient Egyptian issues? So, I mean, there you go. So it's crazy. I mean, it's wasteful. So these are wasteful quarrels that are going on. People are arguing. And then it's not so now check this out. Imagine people who actually knew how to argue, knew how to structure questions, didn't cut people off, allow people to talk, didn't curse, didn't, yell at each other, get emotional and all this other kind of thing. Imagine if none of that existed. Even in that same situation, it would still be a messed up conversation on the content. But it'd be better to listen. It'd be easier to listen to. But we don't even have that. We have a messed up content underneath all of the shouting and the interruptions and the egos flaring and the cursing and all this other kind of stuff that goes on. I hear it too much. I've been hearing it for too long, man, and things are not getting better. So that's just a wrap, man. So people need to do something about it. But my question for tonight is, what about that attracts people? Is it boredom? Like, why are we supporting that? Because here's the thing. TikTok and Instagram are notoriously known for this. Having TikTok followers and the amount of followers and Instagram followers, it's a new testimony to what do you call it? Approval. It's like an approval thing. So what do people do on TikTok and Instagram Reels mostly? Most of it is filled with people cutting a fool, acting something, doing something. They're either dancing or doing something. They're doing something entertaining to get people to like them and follow them and gain more followers and like their videos. Because likes and followers is the new internet currency. is the new psychological currency. It's the new self-esteem currency. The more followers and the more likes you got, the bigger your head and self-esteem and everything gets. The bigger approval you have for yourself. And so the same thing. So think about it. If you spent 2 hours putting together a TikTok video, trying to edit it down, put music to it and everything like that, and you post it, but you get like 5 likes, and then you do it again, you get 2 likes, then you do another one, you get 7 likes, you do another one, you get 3 likes. Eventually, you're going to catch on quick. You can be like, well, man, I ain't doing this. But if you do a video and you get 10 likes, you do another one, you get 200 likes, you do another one, you get 5,000 likes, you do another one, it's 15,000 likes. That's going to encourage you to keep going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And so that's what's happening. That's what's happening. People are growing an audience for wasteful quarreling. That's what's happening. And I'm just asking a simple question. Why does that happen? Why is that? In this day and time, in 2022, why is that happening? Why is it happening? It's been happening, but I'm saying I'm asking it now. You know, why is it happening? So anyway, I'm just here, you know, kicking. I was sharing some memes. If y'all came on, let me see if I have a couple more. Let me share a couple more.
Yeah, please get on the panel. Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just telling the chat, the link is pinned above, so just get on the channel because I think this is a good discussion. So, don't be afraid. Just click that link up above and get on here, and then we can chat about this.
So I want to ask a question. I mean, I know the answer, but it may be good for the chat. So you remember once upon a time, Jara, you would always say, don't Google an article, pull it up, and then try to go live and talk about it, right? You remember that, right?
Right, yep.
Okay. So do you think that is a successful way to educate yourself on a live stream so you can edify not only yourself, but the listening audience so that they can learn with you, aka work out your pseudoisms on a live stream?
No, like do it in real time?
Yeah.
No.
Do you think that's an appropriate tool?
Nah.
Okay. That's what I thought. I thought I was going crazy because people are coming to learn, and then if you don't know what you're talking about, where's the learning experience? The only thing that I learned in this moment is that you didn't know what you was talking about, and that's an issue for me because I just spent 2 hours for you to tell me at the end of the day you're just trying to work out your pseudoisms on a live stream. I find that horrifying, in my opinion, that would be the case.
Yeah, but see, now I said no, but I had a little hesitant little no, only because the only way that makes sense to do that is if, okay, let me go the other way. It doesn't make sense and people should not do it if they're arguing something. You can't do that. If you're taking a stance and you're trying to argue and stuff, that's how the quarreling start, because you really don't know what you're talking about. You're Googling it on the fly, and now, which means that your methodology is motivated by you just finding anything to agree with you for that moment. And that's not how this works. That's not how knowledge is sifted through. That's not how scholarship is done. Anybody could find some. I could find somebody, if I can find so many articles that will say the earth is flat right now, and Google that right now and find it, and then we'd be just article banging, article against article, or paper versus paper. So no, nobody should ever do that. But now, if there's a conversation set up to be like, all right, let's research this together. Like if I start off by saying, hey, let's research this together, and you already start off by saying, listen, I want to investigate this, but we could do it live together. And see, when you do that, there's not going to be an argument.
Right.
because it doesn't even set the stage for an argument. It's just two or more people learning something in real time. So in that sense, I'd be like, all right, well, let's pull it up. Let's find out. Let's find out what this is. So, you know, people use Wikipedia and ResearchGate or Google Scholar and stuff like that. In those scenarios, it's fine. So that's why I said no. But then there are scenarios where that could be perfectly fine. But for the most part in the circus community, my answer would be no, because people don't do it that way. People do it to try to argue, fuss, and fight. They while you're talking, they're not even listening to what you're saying. They trying to Google real fast
To
and find
refute
something. Yeah, find something that agrees with whatever they're thinking at the time. And that's not how you do it. So no. Because if we all played by that game, man, we would get nowhere. Because you could find something for just about everything on the internet. No, seriously, you could find. Listen, you could find everything. People don't, and then see now here's the new thing. So we accomplished one step, but we think it's end all be all. So now we got people to at least start to cite something, but people stop there. They don't know. They don't even know how to read what they're citing. People will actually cite something, think it says one thing, but it doesn't. Like they'll think it backs up their claim, but it really doesn't. And they don't even know it. And it's because these conversations are rushed, you can't even go through the whole source or citation. Like somebody will pull up a study or a white paper, a paper, and they'll just read the conclusion or the abstract and then say, see, blah, blah, blah. And because of the pace of the conversation is going so fast, you look crazy for trying to slow the conversation down. Be like, nope, let's read the whole study. Let's go scroll back to the top. We're gonna go all the way down.
Yeah.
And until that happens, right? People not trying to do that. Because I guarantee you, most of the time, it doesn't support what they're saying, what people think it's saying, and if people don't comprehend, I've literally seen people read a paper or read from a paper, and I'm looking at the screen, and what they get out of it and what it actually says is two different things. And so we do have a problem in this circus community where people can't comprehend very well. And you know, I don't know everybody's background. I don't know everybody. So people may not have had the same educational background to actually practice reading comprehension and sentence structure and how, you know, these papers are written, where the first line of each paragraph is like the topic line, and then you have supporting statements under it and stuff like that. They don't know what the comma mean, what however means, or what but means, or, you know,
Likely.
Yeah, likely, and so on and so forth. I mean, people skip over stuff like that. Like, man. So, you know, mispronounce words. Now, we can all mispronounce words. Mispronouncing words is not, you know, it's not a terrible thing to do. But what's interesting is that you notice a difference between people if they mispronounce something and then they don't try to figure out or find out the right way. Like there's a distinction, a line drawn between people who don't care. They just mispronounce something and don't care, keep on going. And they keep mispronouncing the same word over and over again, live stream after live stream, versus somebody who don't know how to pronounce it because it's the first time they see it and that's understood. But then you go try to figure it out or word out. Remember in school they teach you, hey, sound it out. Like right on the screen right now, I got this one here, and this tripped everybody out. What if I told you the clitoris has more than 8,000 nerve endings and it's still not as sensitive as some people on the internet? And I put that out there because people get too personal with information, and then you try to correct them or deal with their information to take it personal, and they get real sensitive. And so I put this out dedicated to all those folks, all those street hard people, but when it comes to scholarship, they be soft as cotton candy, you know, real sensitive and whatnot, and be crying all the time. That's what people be doing. and you can't be that way when you're dealing with scholarship. You can't be that way. And so that's what that meme was about.
Yeah, plus I think the most important thing to realize is that we have to recognize what we know proper scholarship. And when you're talking with these kind of people, it's like you said, I think you mentioned it before. It was the article versus article arguments, and you'll see that people will just pull up an article and then read the abstract or read the conclusion, and that is that. And what it demonstrates is, because obviously, like, there's no way, if you've ever done a research paper, there's no way that you would actually do a research paper based on one article. And even if you picked articles, as in many, you would not get so far trying to pick articles that actually agree with each other and not actually have do a proper literature review and see what the agreements and what the disagreements are, so that you can actually understand what it is. And this actually comes from the fact that people who actually do this literature review also have to have some competency on that particular subject, because then you'll be able to know which side is getting it right, which side is not getting it right, by looking at both ends. But what we see is just people who are actually not competent at all, and they just have an opinion, and then they need to find somebody else who's actually done the work and agrees with their with their opinion, and then that's what they bring forward. And that is actually it's not scholarship. And you will notice that with this kind of people, the only thing that they rely upon is articles. They will never demonstrate. Without the articles, they have no way of demonstrating what the article is trying to say, in a way that you can actually see that, yeah, they have mastery or some kind of competency on the particular topics that you're speaking about. And mostly you'll see that with ancient Egypt, where it's like, you will see these groups of people who will actually talk about Egypt, talk about the language, talk about the culture, and and when if for example, like what Sean was the field work that Sean just did, and was showing all those articles, and I was going to say those primary, I mean, the inscriptions, I would actually say that we need to actually start. If you're on a panel on these kind of discussions with those people, just pull up one of them inscriptions and let them read, because just to see how competent they are in the language. Because I just feel that it's very disrespectful to actually try to talk about the language, and then if a person who's actually studied the language, let's say Sean was on that panel, or Uja was on that panel, and trying to explain something, and then you will hear the kind of commentary that they will be getting, like, they're being rude, they think they know it, or there are some other experts who say this and that, knowing fully well that Sean or maybe Ujao actually knows more about the language than they do. But just to accept that somebody actually knows more than I do, and let me listen at least, because all I do is I can only rely on the article. They don't even do that. But I think people need to start realizing that, or actually start to recognize what scholarship is. So when you go to those channels and somebody's talking about let's say vaccines, and they haven't done the work on vaccines, and you know what you're dealing with. If they're talking about ancient Egypt and they can't even read a lick of the the inscriptions, and we know that's how we find out about the culture, then they have no business speaking. If you're listening, you're just listening for entertainment purposes and nothing more.
That's facts.
Yeah, you said a lot right there. But no, what you said, I want to underline. I want to bold, underline, italicize something you said. This is what you do. Now, I haven't paid attention to the shenanigans going on about the Happy film or Anthony Browder's cancellation. I saw the picture. I saw his post where it's a picture and he got the word cancel across and stuff like that. And I think I saw it when he first posted it, because when I first saw it, I didn't see that many comments at all. And then, like, earlier tonight, I go back to look for it, and it's a whole bunch of comments. And then I see other people reposted it, and it's comments. And I'm like, I said, I already know it's drama, and I didn't even worry about reading it. But this is all you have to do, though, is anybody on both sides of the coin. So you got your Chief X people out there. Then you got the people who are cheering on Chief X and stuff like that. On all you do, and this is something you just said, Amy Cat, you pull up an inscription, something that is part and parcel of ancient Egyptian culture. You pull it up and just ask any of them to read it. And I guarantee you none of them can. And I've personally done this a few times already. I've done it. In the same arguments. I've been doing this for a long time now. And I've done that. And they can't do it. They cannot do it.
They're gonna tell you they don't have to read it.
Well, I don't even allow them to say that. I ask them in such a way where they can't even say that. They're not gonna say that. But they cannot do it. And the ones who attempt to do it, guess where they go? They go to E.A. Wallace Budge's dictionary to try to do whatever and talk about it. So that ends the conversation. It's like you, no matter what your nationality is, you are Egyptian. Like nobody can take the Egyptian nationality from those people who are part of the nation of Egypt, the country of Egypt today. You can't do that. So anybody arguing that is stupid and retarded. And some the Egyptians over there, it's mixed. They don't refer to themselves as Arabs, either. Like some people think they do. Some of them may, but they say Egyptian. They're Egyptian. But that's normal. That's a nationality. You know what I'm saying? Just like Kenyan, they say I'm Kenyan. I live in Kenya. I'm a citizen of the country of Kenya. I'm Kenyan, and whatnot. But that's not. So it's different layers of identity. But my point though is, although they're Egyptian, full nationality, that's what they called, and that's what we call them, and no problems. But they're not people who are Egyptian by culture. Ancient Egyptian, I should say. Let me make that clear. Ancient Egyptian by culture. And you can prove it any and every time. Just pull up some stuff in scripture and tell them, hey, explain it. Read it. Explain it. I'm going to pull up this papyrus. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull up a papyrus that is written in such a way that it mirrors the Arabic script to make it even easier for you, and go for it. And they still can't do it. I get the most cursive looking hieratic and they still can't do it. Because it'll look like Arabic, but it's not. They still can't do it. Explain to me what the reality is behind Ra. Here's a ram-headed figure. Break that down for me. And don't you dare say Allah or Muhammad. And they can't do it. Well, all they're going to do is quote what all of us can find on the internet. Ra is the sun god. And sometimes he manifests, or the Egyptians, anthropomorphize him with a ram's head and this and that. I mean, come on, man. Okay. That's some basic stuff we can find on the internet right now. You probably looked that up on your phone just now. So the point, so the right things are not being asked and stuff like that. And you got people who are instigating. Chief X is an instigator and a messy person. Every argument you notice that he makes is just messy. It's just to entertain, and people like it. They're gonna watch, and then more people watch, the more people, whatever. I saw a post of his. He was asking for 5 more people to subscribe to his channel to reach the 5,000 mark or whatever 1,000 mark of subscribers for his YouTube channel and everything. So you see the motivation and stuff behind this stuff. So I mean, if that's what people want, entertainment, then hey, that's cool. I want nothing against that. But that's where it stops. It's entertainment. And I think Chief X is funny though. He is funny. But he's messy. I lost respect. Like I lost hope, because I thought Chief X, at one point I thought Chief X was interested in learning. And nah. I rule that out now.
Nah, he already put a disclaimer out there many times that he's not interested at all. He doesn't study any of that stuff. He's not interested in that stuff because that stuff doesn't make any money. And he guarantees that everybody trying to make books, they're not making any money. So why should he be in it? So he's literally put that out there. So and he just, like you said, he actually said he likes being messy. So we already know that, that's what he's after. So most of these people just do that for the, for YouTube monetary values at this point, and people need to be, just hip to that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna share a couple more memes. And I'm sharing this because one, I think they're cool because I created them. Nah, but it just remind me of like things I was thinking at certain points in times, and I made these memes over the past 10 years. And so some people who are not aware or don't, I don't know them, they don't know me, and they may just now cross paths with me or whatever the case is. They don't know that I've been consistently saying certain things for a long time. People think I'm brand new to this kind of stuff or saying these kind of things, and I have memes and the whole Facebook archive to show otherwise. But like, for example, this one, it says, what if I told you the Ricky Lake and Jerry Springer shows never really ended, but rather morphed into this thing called the conscious community, with drama queens, soft, insecure, slow, immature folks with bad character. And that's how I see the so-called conscious community, but I call it the circus community. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. And I know y'all remember this one. When the Sesh show up and you can't read hieroglyph, but out there claiming to be a teacher and a priest and priestess. Y'all remember this one?
Yeah.
That put people on the spot. Because whenever we show up, everybody just start like trying to duck. Because they know we're going to be like, read it.
Yeah, plus, the Seshu is actually one of those kept secrets out here, especially by those folks who like to talk about Egypt. They'll be they're watching even right now and taking notes and all that stuff, but they never mention the Seshu when they're talking all that stuff, because they already know. This is the only channel actually where we actually demonstrate that, we know what we're talking about. We read that stuff. We will do it anytime, any place,
Yeah, I think everybody remember this one. Well, you might not. I mean, I mean, people know Adrian. What is Adrian Broner? I think that's his name, Bronner.
Yeah.
He's a boxer that swear, but he would lose a match and swear he won. And so I use his picture to convey that same thing when people be so-called debating, lose, but then swear they win. Swear they win in the argument or won the debate. I call them Bronerites. These are Bronerites, boy, I'm telling you. I know a few. I'm sure everybody in the chat know a few of them too. That's that one. Oh man, it's a classic right here. I blatantly, unapologetically say this is the book that got SETI shook. Y'all know that commercial with James Earl Jones' voice? This is the book that got Bubba cooked. This is the car that drove the man that cooked the fish that got Bubba cooked. Y'all, I don't know if y'all remember that Yellow Pages commercial back in the day. But anyway, so this is Cat in the Hat. This is the book that got SETI shook. So I know y'all know that. Nobody's refuting that book, y'all, by the way. Nobody has and nobody will refute that. Classic one. I shared Dr. John Henry Clark's sentiments, where I think it's a waste of time to debate people who are not proficient or competent in certain subjects. And so you should really just debate your peers in the subject. And everybody who's not your peer, if you're going to talk about it, you might as well teach them. And I wholeheartedly feel this exact same way. This one, your choice, institution of learning or MMA rap battle circus debates. And so I've been consistently calling this stuff circus stuff And for some reason, more recently, when I called it a circus, people's panties got twisted up in a bunch, to the point where a whole show was dedicated to me for calling the conscious community a circus community. And that tripped me out, because I've been saying it for years. I'm like, what, you just now paying attention or something? But so here's an example. This meme is old. I did this a long time ago. Make your choice. You either want to learn or you want to get entertained. That's it. Now we can have fun learning. The eyeball test is unscientific. I created this one. It's self-explanatory. Lookership is unscientific. We can start with lookership, but you can't end in lookership. Here's a classic right here, boy. If you're tired, you can hear Suge Knight saying this. If you're tired of dealing with insecure folks who think everyone is against them or their progress, or emotional attention whores who play victim and want sympathy, or combative folks who think everything is a competition, or immature folks with no discipline and bad character, or folks that be all up in your timeline, cursing people out, pushing info with no rigor and sound methodology, come join the Sesh Medew Netcher FB Facebook group. We are the ones with folded arms and bended back. We are the mature ones. We are the disciplined ones. We are the Sesh Medew Netcher. And if y'all remember Suge Knight making that speech at the what was it, Source Awards or BET Awards? I think it was the Source Awards.
Source.
Where he got up on stage and gave a shot at he said he made this speech aiming at P. Diddy, Puff Daddy. That's really what that was about. So that's that one. Here's the look you have when you see a post that's so pseudo. You're just like, man, I can't even be bothered. Captain Picard, at your service. Yeah, there's people who claim we can't read it. Y'all can't read it. Psh, shut the F up. We read them all the time. We could read some now if you want. What else? When you give suggested reading to lazy microwave enthusiasts, that's all they do. They be tap dancing, boy. You be suggesting books for people to read. They be like, why I gotta read the whole book? Man, stop tap dancing. Read the book and then come back, talk to me a week later. That's what they be doing. They be Sinatraing you to death, boy. That is Sinatra, right?
It looks like.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, a question in the chat.
Here's a classic. That's what I'm seeing right now. That's me right now. I see pseudoscience everywhere. Okay, you said in the chat. All right, let me take this off. Take it off.
Yeah, Boom asked the question about the what was the purpose? I can't remember. What was the purpose of the unification or something like that? He asked it on the last show. But he said, what was the motivation for unification of the two lands, and how long did the unification process take from Upper to Lower Egypt? I guess he's saying, were there many battles fought?
Okay, that's a good set of questions. Okay, what was the motivation for the unification of the two lands, and how long did the unification process take from Upper to Lower Egypt, and were many battles fought? Okay, now the answer to all of these questions are estimates, because we don't know exact figures and stuff like that. But the evidence, the second two, I'm going to address the second two. There were many battles fought, yes. There were many battles fought before the unification occurred. And even when it was first unified, the strength of that unification started to crystallize and become more and more concrete. What scholars call the Old Kingdom, the early dynastic periods and things. It started solidifying more and more. And then there was a breakdown, of course, and then there was an intermediate period, and then you started this second wave. But still, yes, there were many battles fought, and even after unification, there was a issue of maintaining the unification because it's one thing to unify a group of people, but then it's a whole nother job to keep them unified. Okay, so that's just as important. And there were some strengths and weaknesses there, and sometimes the weaknesses prevailed, and then you have this disarray called the intermediate periods in terms of the polity, country, kingdom. How long did the unification process take? That is not known definitively because. So let me say this. Let me back up some. Okay, first we have to understand that the ancient Egyptian territorial geographical territory stretches from the Mediterranean Sea all the way down to the waterfalls, aka cataracts. All right. And at different periods of time, the southern border in the cataracts were going from Elephantine, Aswan area, all the way down to several of the cataracts. I believe the third cataract. I know with I believe it is Amenhotep. He stretched it down to the second cataract, and so the southern border kind of fluctuated. But my point is that what we know as ancient Egypt, all the iconography, the state apparatus, the structure, the institution of kingship, the political structure, the writing system, and everything that we came to know and love about Egypt, it has its highest contribution and genesis in the area or territory that they're calling Nubia. Now, Nubia is not a country. It is a geographical region, no different than the Middle East. Like we call the Middle East the Middle East. The Middle East is not a country. There's no citizenship in the for the Middle East. No card ID that says, "Hey, I'm Middle East." None of that stuff. Same thing with Nubia. So Nubia is a geographical territory region which overlaps with southern Egypt and northern Sudan. And so it's from this area that everything that we come to know and love about Egypt gets its genesis from. The major contributions of that culture that we come to know as ancient Egypt comes from that geographical territory. And so that took time for that to mature and then start to move its way northward, which would be down the Nile, going downstream towards sea level and emptying out in the Mediterranean Sea. So that took time. So the scholars and archaeologists are comparing notes, cross-pollinating disciplines where you have the material culture of the Egyptians, because they separated now. Then you have the material culture of Nubian groups. You got the A group, B group, C group, and so on and so forth, mixed with the Naqada archaeological findings and the Naqada period, the Naqada sites, and the sites in Abju, which is Abydos, Kom Ombos, all of that is being compared and whatnot. And so they're saying that from around about 3800 BCE up to the unification is the time that it took to do that, because we have evidence of local monarchs or local kings, for lack of a better word, in the area of Kustul, in the area of like I said, Naqada, between Naqada and Kustul, and even a little bit beyond or south of that. If I had a map up, I could show you. I may post up a map, or I know Emicat has shared it before. I don't know if she can have it pull up again, but that's where it came from. So I know I'm saying a long answer, but as far as the amount of time, they're estimating from around 3800 BCE to the time of unification, which they give a date roughly around 32 or 3100. So roughly about 500 years have transpired, and that's a wide range. That's 5 centuries. The United States. Hold on, how old is the United States? Yeah, I don't even know the age of the United States. That's crazy. And I've been living in the United States all my life. I forgot. But think about this. The United States is only 245 years old. So think about that. From now, this is the wide range of estimates based on the artifacts, 3800 to 3200 BC. So that's about 600 years. That's about 5 to 6 centuries. But think about this: the United States started off with 13 colonies, and then over time, the territory expanded all the way, from east to west coast to California. They had the Louisiana Purchase. We learn all that stuff in civics and in grade school. And that took time, but that was modern times and whatnot. Back then, it took time for that to happen, for them to start incorporating different territories under one umbrella. But now here's the thing, and I know I'm being long-winded. In ancient Egypt, although they unified, right, they always saw the unification as a simultaneous duality. So you always had this upper and lower concept, as we would say today, but it's really Ta Shemau and Ta Mehu, or what we would simply say as Tawi, the two lands. Egypt was always counted as two lands, whether it was a north and south division horizontally, or a vertical division where we say Idebwi, which means the two banks, the two river banks, the left and right, or the east and west banks of the Nile, because the Nile cut through the entire country. So there was a left side and a right side to the country, just like there was an upper and lower to the country. So no matter how you want to split it, either you want to split it vertically and say left and right, or you want to split it horizontally and say up and down, or upper and lower, it was always viewed as two. Ta means, they translate it as land, but it's better to translate it as region, because you have this massive region called Ta Shemau, and then another massive region called Ta Mehu, and that's the lower Egypt, and Ta Shemau will be upper Egypt. And so although they unified it as a Sema Tawi, but they always saw it as upper and lower. And how we know that is because kingship was Nisut and Biti. Nisut Biti. They translate it as a dual king. The heraldic totem for lower Egypt, the bee, and upper Egypt, the sedge plant. The sedge and the bee. The two colors, red and white. Red for lower Egypt, white for upper Egypt. So you see, so they always saw it as two. So keep that in mind. And then as far as the motivation, the motivation, well, the stated motivation that we find if we let the Egyptians tell it in from the text is they're not explicit with that. Like they didn't sit around at a meeting and said, "Hey, you know what? This time tomorrow we're gonna start unifying." They didn't sit at a table and did that and like write that down for us to explicitly say, okay, yeah, this is the motivation for it. But the evidence, like if we trace out the breadcrumbs and look at the evidence, it was a lot of things, a lot of elements that went in to the need to unify. Survival, resources, and that's a very big one right there, resources, to gain, more access to resources and to prosper as a larger group. Defending, just making things easier, to be sedentary, because when you're dealing with a sedentary group of people, because people can settle on the Nile, access to water and things like that. You're not a nomadic people. You're not wandering around all the time. You become sedentary. It's a natural progression to form a community, a common unity or to unify, and then to start organizing and structuring things to keep that unification and then make life easier. So these are just some basic things that you can see in what they did say and things like that. And I'm gonna give you a tool that they use for the unification process that may surprise you. One tool out of many tools now. One tool is the calendar. How they kept time. That is a unification tool. Because think about it. If you can get a large group of people to do the same thing at the same time, that's instant unification. That's instant unification. Think about in school, when we were in school. When you first get to school, the first period bell rings or your homeroom bell rings. What's the first thing you gotta do? You gotta stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. You gotta do the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Man, I forgot it. To the republic for which we stand, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty, justice for all, and something. The whole school does it. Everybody stops what they're doing. They stand up from in front of their desk, put your hand on your chest, and you say the Pledge of Allegiance. That's unification. If you get any group of people to do the same thing at the same time, that is unity. And so the Egyptian calendar and its rituals and festivals and things like that is a unification programming tool. So think about that. All right. And also what was a unifying tool, a natural unifying tool, was the Nile River itself. The Nile flooded and it affected everybody. When that flood came, everybody was affected by that. Okay, then when the flood receded, everybody was affected. All right, so anyway, so that's that. Yep. So hopefully answer that a bit. Was anything else I missed? Oh, that work. Let's see. Question 1 or request. I would love to hear a show on Jehudi and the reclamation of Jehudi in the Ugda to eliminate how the Greek Hermes is co-opting the story. Okay, yeah, we can do something about Jehudi and the Kaminu, or what they call the Ogdod or Ogdod. Yeah, we could do that. We could definitely do that. Now, it's interesting. About that though, the 4 pairs, right? You got the male and female 4 pairs. It's a part of we gotta do a whole separate show on that. Yeah, we're gonna do a whole separate show. You about to get me in trouble. Yeah, we do a separate show on that. Yep. So there you have it. Now, speaking about what I just thought, what I just said. So remember what I said. The takeaway on what I just said is that the ancient Egypt we came to know and love. When you say ancient Egypt, everything that comes in your mind when you say that term, ancient Egypt, it has its genesis in the South. It doesn't matter what people are fussing and quarreling about who don't know anything from anything. The ancient Egypt that we know came from the South. And I'm not talking about genetics. I'm not talking about anything else. I'm talking about the cultural items, everything that makes ancient Egypt what it is. Culture is king. Those elements, most of them, not all, most of them came from the South. Writing, the iconography, all that stuff, pottery, came from the South. A South to North movement. So people can argue over the genetic makeup of the people, and everybody who's anybody knows that the Nile Valley was populated from multiple directions. At the drying of the Sahara, the Green Sahara, when it dried up, people came into the Nile area, went down south, and so on and so forth. Prior to that, people came from the Levant area, and so on. So that territory we call ancient Egypt, or Egypt even to this day, was never a homogeneous gene pool. You know, it was never a homogeneous gene pool. Even North Africa, people trying to argue about North Africa versus sub-Saharan Africa, super versus sub, supra Africa versus sub, super Saharan versus sub-Saharan, and whatnot. Even in the genetic studies conducted today, it's not until recently that they have identified a what they call an autonomous genetic pool of people, and then everybody else is a bunch of is waves of admixture. Even in that, so they'll tell you that even North Africans are not a homogeneous gene pool, and it's crazy to think so, because the more modern in the timeline you get, you'll see huge gradients and variations, because we travel more. Like you definitely can't look at the landscape of today's population and try to extrapolate things from it today, because we fly in planes, we got boats, we take cruises, we go on vacations, we drive cars, we move from place to place based on jobs, we got military babies, we got people who move around. But the further back in the timeline you go, people didn't move like that. They moved for different reasons, motivation. They moved because they ran out of resources, or got too crowded in one area for resources, so they break out and go somewhere else, or they follow food. But now we got refrigerators, we got comfort, we got remote control TV, cell phones and stuff, man. We move anywhere and everywhere. We would go across the country just to watch a boxing match. People will go from the East Coast to Las Vegas to see somebody fight in a ring for 30 seconds. Mike Tyson was putting them down. Floyd Mayweather putting them down. Well, now I don't know he put them down, but to watch a Mayweather fight, Tyson fight, or whatever. We didn't do that back in the day. We traveled, boy. When we traveled, boy, you mess around and die. You try to cross that Sahara Desert or whatever. You are done. You are done. And then life expectancy wasn't so great. If you reach 50 years old, boy, 40 and 50, you were saying something back in the day. Think about that. Every baby that was born didn't make it. Like today, we take that for granted. People showing baby bumps online and stuff like that. You couldn't do that. Even if the internet was available to ancient people, and if women were to show their baby bump in ancient times, there is no guarantee that they're going to show up with a later picture of a newborn baby live and kicking. So birth, what do they call it? Birth mortality. The birth mortality rate was higher as we go backwards in the timeline. Life expectancy was lower as we go back in the timeline. People didn't travel nowhere near like we do today. So it's a different landscape, a different genetic landscape that you can extrapolate. But the trade-off is that you don't have a lot of ancient DNA mapping done to this very day. In today's population, you could just cotton swab people's mouths and just go around and just say, listen, I'll give you $20 for your DNA sample for this research study we're doing. And the institution come into a neighborhood and find the older people. And this is what they do. Like companies like 23andMe, Ancestry.com and stuff like that, what they do to expand their resource data bank, they they go to certain geographical areas and they look for and solicit the oldest people in the area who've been there the longest. That's one of the criteria that they put forth out there, and they try to get volunteers to come and provide their samples. If you and your family have been there for 4 generations, 3 generations, whatever, they're looking for you. They're looking for that kind of person. So it's not a just random swab everybody, because that will mess up the data. Because how would they know that you didn't just move there? You will pollute the data. And even then, they don't know. They have to trust what you say. And so these things are estimates at best anyway. In terms of answering questions, where you from? Yeah, you should never look at it that way. Just look at it as, okay, like for example, me or anybody, any African American, we share a lot of DNA with West and Central Africans presently who live there now. And that's how we should say it. Like 47% of my DNA is shared with Nigerians. Don't say you're from Nigeria. Don't say that. Just say I share 47% of my DNA with present day Nigerians. Autosomally at that. That's your autosomal. Whenever somebody say percentage, you dealing with autosomes, which is through the admixture. All right, so remember that. Don't say you're from there. You share that, because here's the funny thing, is that I think the stats are African Americans are between 25 and 30% European, and 75 to 70% African, in terms of the major split in the test results when they come back. And what I find funny is that nobody wants to claim the European 25% or 30%. I don't see nobody doing that. People will find out that they, 35% Nigerian, 10% Burkina Faso.
Burkina Faso.
Yeah, thank you. Burkina Faso. And all of that, but then they'll celebrate that. They'll be like, yo, blah, blah, blah. They'll try to look at the outfits and get the outfits and show interest there. But what about that 25, 30% British or Irish? You don't see them popping a green hat on and get some leprechauns to hang up on the wall. Oh, my lucky charms. Oh, my
What?
Oh, my lucky charms. You don't see nobody up there with a 4-leaf clover and some green outfits on, sit up on some YouTube channel claiming that 25% Irish. You know what I mean? So it's crazy out there in YouTube streets.
I only see Baker claiming 100% of herself.
Yeah, at least Mika is claiming that 0.1% Native American. You see Mika in the hair twist, but nobody representing that European though. But guess what? That's you. If that 25% weren't there, you would not exist. So people are tripping. So anyway, that's how you know it's a lot of superficial things going on for all the wrong reasons. Anyway, so listen, I got 4 minutes, y'all. Anybody got any last minute questions? You got anything on the panel? Hold up, let me stop sharing this. Oh, you were showing that. Okay, one second. Let me show this real quick. Can we make it bigger? Okay, so yeah, right there. That's good, right there. So here's the map of Egypt, and below Egypt you have Sudan, North Sudan. And the area I was talking about, if you look where Luxor is on this map, Luxor is Waset. It's called Luxor today, but it was called Waset, and even the Greeks called it Thebes. But this is Waset. But on the map, this map, it says Luxor. So from Luxor down to where it says Abri on this map is the area I was speaking about. It includes Kustal, it includes Aswan, and a whole bunch of other things that you don't see on the map, as far as named on the map. But that area, if you were to draw a circle around that area, right there, that is the major contributing area for what we come to know and love as ancient Egypt. Right there. All right, just so everybody know. And just look at the material culture, look at the pottery, look at the seals, the Kustal seal, the Kustal incense burners, look at the Abju ivory tags, look at the burial sites there. And then on top of that, the ancient Egyptians referred to the southern part of their country as the beginning. The Egyptian word resi is a word that we translate as south, but it means the beginning or the head. Res, head. Okay? We translate it as south. Resi. Resi, the southern region. They call that the beginning, and they call Mehu, which is the completion or the end of something, or the bottom of something, where your body completes itself. Your body starts at your head and then it finishes at your feet. And so the word Mehu means to submerge, as if to submerge something underwater. And will be the feet of the country. And so the head is at the south and the feet are in the north. And if the Egyptians were from the north, why would they call the south the head? I dare anybody to try to refute that. They don't have no answer for that. None. And here's another one. Here are two what they call daggers. So listen, I want y'all to use this whenever these conversations come up. Just ask somebody if the culture, now I'm not going to say Egyptians, because then people are going to try to change it to a DNA conversations. Don't let them do that. If the Egyptian culture came from the north, or came from Europe, or came from the Middle East, or wherever, why would they call the beginning of the country the southern portion of the country, and the feet the northern part? That's one question. Or dagger. That's a second one. Is the ancient Egyptians called themselves the Remech. That was their prideful national identity, the Remech. And it has some cosmogonical implications because of their cosmogonical story about Ra producing things from himself. And from his tears, which is the word remu, tears, remi is the verb to cry. And the remu are the tears that are result from crying. And so the Egyptians figuratively say that the remech, that they themselves, the remech, come from the remi. And it's a play on the word. Remi, remu, remech. Remi, to cry, produced remu, tears, which became the remech, the people. Now, I say that to say that everybody should know that the ancient Egyptians refer to themselves as the remech. Lock that in your head. If the ancient Egyptian culture came from the north, where we got Semitic cultures and Semitic speaking people and so on and so forth, Why can't we find the name Remich in any Semitic language? And even Berber languages, for those people who want to invoke the Berbers. But we find the word Remich and cognates of the word Remich south of Egypt and going across the continent of Africa towards the west, in what they call Bantu speaking territories. Why is that? Those are two daggers that nobody who is these Hegelites out here, Hegelites, that are being messy about the ancient Egypt, don't study anything, they can't get around those two questions right there. They can't get around it. So all they're going to do is post up some pictures or something, and then they're going to invoke the Mediterranean Sea and say, hey, see, Egypt is a Mediterranean culture. Egypt is part of North Africa, and North Africa is distinct from sub-Saharan Africa. That's all they got. That's all they got. And you know, scholarship and science is not about cherry picking. You have to answer everything. Everything has to make sense. You can't have any contradictions in your logic flow. So if the culture of Egypt was a product of Semitic speakers coming from the Levant, then we have to reconcile why we can't find the name that they call themselves in any Semitic languages, even the Berber languages, with that meaning. But we can find it all throughout other parts of Africa. You see what I'm saying? So they have to be able to explain that, and they can't, and they won't. So stop people in their tracks and do that. That's just two. I can go on and on and on. With that. The orientation. Here's three. I'm going to give y'all three daggers. That's two. Here's the third one. The Egyptian orientation. The Semitic speakers, their left side of their body doubles as the word for north. And the right side of their body doubles for south, which means that they face the east. But the Egyptians, the left side of their body doubles as the word for left. East. And the right side of their body and hand doubles as a word for west, which means they face south.
Your skincare routine? Suck.
If they were Semitic people, why would they face the south and totally change their orientation like that? All right, so that's dagger number 3. All right, but I'll leave y'all with that. It's 2:04. Any last minute things? I don't see any last minute. So peace, man. I appreciate anybody tuned in. Don't get caught up with in that noise, y'all. That's going on about the happy. I don't know if it's about the happy film or just Anthony Browder's conference or something like that. I'm not getting into that because I think it's just on both sides. It's crazy. It's crazy. I see the errors on both sides of the arguments. I see people trying to blackenize everything. Even the whole conversation about Egypt being black people, it's I can't put it any other way. It's retarded. It really is. The ancient Egyptians were the ancient Egyptians. They were the Remech. Just let it go. Let it be that. They don't have to be anything else. We're not ancient Egyptians. If the people living in Egypt right now are not ancient Egyptians, then what audacity do we have to say that we're ancient Egyptians? Don't speak no ancient Egyptian language. Don't practice. We don't even live near a river. Somebody lived down the street from the creek and want to think that's a river. Don't live near a river. Don't even have the political structure or none of it. I mean, come on, man. People are fooling themselves. Anyway, you got anything?
Yeah, see, I was just gonna say that really, at the end of the day, there's distinctions and there's levels to this because the noises just come from people who just don't read or don't actually study the culture. And actually, to be quite honest, the people who actually don't study, because this is not like something like we always say, you can't microwave this. So, and that's why you'll find that people who actually study this particular culture and the language really don't even have much time to actually be having arguments over it, because really you don't have time when you're actually delving deep into this kind of when you're studying dead languages. Everybody else that makes a lot of noise is people who just have time to kill. And like Chief X said, he doesn't he hasn't studied the language, he's not going to study it. You've had people bring in DNAs and then talk about, I'm not interested in a dead language, but actually utilizes studies from people who actually study the dead language so they can find things to talk about it. So everybody that makes a lot of noise is like, empty barrels actually make the most noise, but the loudest noise. But those people actually don't study. So that's why it's like, there's distinctions and there's levels. When you study the language, your perception of it is the language and the culture. I mean, your perception of it and how you handle, this kind of discussions is very, very different from people who actually don't. And that's just, that's very clear, and people have to be clear on that. That's all I wanted to say.
All right, and we'll close out with that. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Listen, if you didn't check out the last show, we got a lot of feedback from the last show. The last show was called "Figurative Math." It was a question. Figurative math is a question mark. Definitely check. If you missed it, check it out. Okay, because it's not like this show where we just kind of hanging, but our last show, I gave a discussion, or I shared some very interesting and important points about ancient Egypt and our modern understanding of mathematics and ancient Egypt and how they correlate with one another and stuff like that. So definitely check that out. I mean, we got really, really good feedback from that. And it's something that, we discussed that people are going to have a hard time to get around if they try to get around, for those naysayers. But it's very interesting. So I definitely suggest that you watch it. All right, check it out. Try to keep it minimum to like an hour and a half. But definitely check it out. It's worth it. I'm telling you. So I appreciate everybody tuned in, and I'm going to see you all.
Before you say close out on that one, since you mentioned it, I put the link on the chat, and there's also timestamps for the highlights of the conversation on that, so you can quickly go through the different highlights.
Okay, yep, perfect. So, yep, highlights, you can skip around and stuff like that. We're going to start doing that to all the videos. All right, so with that, I'm going to say peace. Appreciate everybody tuned in. Shout out to everybody. And yeah, I didn't get an answer to my question though. Why people are attracted to the circus stuff so much, and it's fine, but we got to give equal attention to quality, progressive information. But anyway, check out the last show. You're gonna see exactly what I mean. That's that's how you do things. All right, but I'm gonna say peace. Shalom Hotel.
Plato said that when you go to chemist school, you became more alert. You wake up, your spirit wake up. And you became a more human being. That's your character is built in a school. Medew Netcher. You see, maybe in the future we need to know some Hieroglyphic too. We need to know Medew Netcher.